And now, new gates for the backyard. So this was the spring I was going to rebuild these gates, and they're kind of beat up and dead. So I came out here to start working on them, and then we see the new post here. I walked up here and I just kind of put my hand up here and leaned, and the post went like 4 inches that way and it came 4 inches this way. So yeah, got a new post installed, so now I can make the new gates. I'm in the process of doing that. But unlike the gates you see here, there's going to be a square frame and then a diagonal going from this corner to that corner, so you get a bracing in that direction, so you get little or no sag. I may have to use the same hardware because I can't find any hardware right now for my gates. So let's go look at, oh, the crossbeam is there, just keep stuff in place for now. So let's go look at how I'm doing these gates real quick. Got the garage door open, there's extra light in here, so I kind of had to switch the settings. I don't know if it's going to work or not. So basically, it's pressure treated lumber, of course, 2x4s, and I cut lap joints on the table saw with the dado head. Oh, car pulling up. And mind you, this is a saw stop, so I had to defeat the safety system in order to cut these because it's fairly wet wood. So it's got a lap joint in each corner, which will have 5 screws through, and that's the base. And then I'll I have the wood cut for the diagonals, and I'll show you how to do that later. Let me show you one that I've got at least the frame done. This is one of the frames complete. Of course, you can't see the whole thing in the frame, picture frame there, but it's 47.5 by 47, and that allowed me to get it out of a minimum amount of wood. 47.5 is the width. The other gate is 47.5, and that opening is a little over 8 feet, so it'll be a nice, fairly close fit in the middle. So I'm going to go outside now and do up the next one, and that will probably be a time lapse. Anyway, let's get started. Tools, driver, some deck screws, square drive drip screws, and of course a framing square. So I'm going to go ahead and do all these corners. I don't know if you can get them all on camera. Maybe we can. I don't know. I'll shift the camera around. But let's start with this corner right here. Forgot about the clamp. And there they are. That's the squares. Now I got to do the diagonals, and that's a different process altogether. I don't think you can see me in that thing. Anyway, so that's where I am right now. Let's do the diagonals, and they're going to have to be set in such a way that the actual load is in the right place. I'm going to put in the diagonal braces now. I'll do one, and then we'll move on from there. And the reasoning for this is the width of the gate here. Height and width. This is going to be the right-hand gate. That means I want the brace to go from this corner to that corner. The hinges will be on this side. And the reasoning behind that is if it's going to sag down like this. When you have a brace here and a brace here, that goes from here between these two corners, it really reduces the possibility of the fence sagging over time. The other thing that really helps is when you put the pickets in, you fasten them here, you fasten them at the diagonal, and you fasten them down here. That way you've got a lot more fasteners holding everything nice and tight and snug, so over time it's not going to weep and sag down. And the way you do the diagonals, grab one of our spares, my diagonal pieces over here. So this is going to be on this surface here, this one's going to be on the top surface there. So I want to take this, put this to the corner, like that, and that to that corner, move it out a little so I can get to it. Now, what I do now is, I've got this like that. I'm going to draw the line using this as my guide. And that goes right to that corner. And the same over here. Aha! I'm out of camera shot. I just saw that. Using a pen because it's easier with this stuff. So there's the diagonal marking. Now I take it to the chop saw and lop off those corners. Come to find out, I don't know what angle it is, but the chop saw goes over far enough, so I'm going to chop these out. Yeah, I got to shift the laser over because it's a one laser saw. I have a new laser for this that does a saw curve across here as the width of the laser. I haven't installed it yet. So there we go. Let's go line them up. Yeah, I was a little trigger happy on the chop saw. It happens. So get out the big ass screws. I said a bad word, didn't I? And the nut driver, which is over here, of course. So this is fitting absolutely perfectly now. Now I'm going to go down at an angle this way. So it's, oops, wrong bit. I need the other bit. These screws use the deck screw star bit. So I want to go in here. There's that. Okay, I want to put another one in this way. They're not pretty, but they do the job. And when I flip it over, I'll do the other side as well. And let's do the other one. Yeah, these are, I think this is a 3-inch screws or 3.5-inch screws. Ooh, too far. Too oblique an angle. So we got to go a little bit shallower on that. Start it this way. There we go. Like I said, I'll do the other side. And then I will show you the hinges and how they're going to be installed. That's kind of an interesting evolution on its own. The hinges, let me open the package here. Standard generic kind of hinges. They're a, I forget what you call these things, but strap hinge. And one will go on each of the 2x4s here. The gate's going to swing inward. So you put it like so. So this bisects the hinge pin almost, but not quite. These will be screwed into the fence post, gate post, with some fairly long screws, hex screws. These will be driven in temporarily with screws, but I'll come back and drill through these, through the 2x4, and use some carriage bolts. I guess they're called carriage bolts that will come in from the outside, and then the nut will screw down on this side. So that's how the hinges are going to work. And then once I hang them, which is going to be a chore in itself, then I can put the pickets on and finish up the fence. I'm going to reuse the latch hardware and the ground pin thing from the old gate. They're fine. The hinges are a little rusty. I mean, they still could be used if I cleaned them up, but I decided to get new ones. So let's get down. I'll go ahead and put the hinges on these two, and then we'll go out and see if I can hang these things by myself. There we go. Time to hang the gate frames before I put everything else together. Got to get these up first. These got to come off and these got to go up. But let me show you something here. To get the spacing correct on the between the post and the gate itself, I put these 1/8" shims on here. They're on with a pinner, so they'll pull right off. But I want to get that spacing just correct so that the gate functions well. So let's get the put these over by this tree. Let's get the old gates down. This one will come off pretty easy. That one's already half off. Get the bar thing down first. Because that'll go back up for wind and stuff. I don't know if this is in camera, but I've got one of those silicone trays for mechanics. It's got all my tools in it and stuff. This will be, there's a slope, you can see it in camera, there's a slope here. So the first one's going to go here, set up a certain amount of height from the ground, and then I'll level this one to that one. I brought some clamps to clamp it to the post. Hopefully that'll work. So let me grab the one for the right side. Alright, so this one goes on this side. I've already got some holes drilled from the last attempt. This one goes on this side. Take out my little full apple. That's where I want to be. So let me put on my datum. This is going to be too tall, I believe, this way. Let's take a look and see. Actually, no. It's not too tall that way. I can go in. after much banging, pounding, and mashing of teeth, I've got the frames in place. So the next step is to finish mounting the hardware to get them, drill them in place, to mount them in place, and then put in the cross bracket temporarily, remove the pickets from the old gates and install them on the new gates. And replace any ones I need to replace, because there'll be a big gap down here if I don't. For the dogs to climb through, climb under, we don't need that. So, let's, I'm going to call a break right now, get all this stuff out of the way so I can continue on with the next step. Different day, different clothes. So today I'm going to put the pickets up on the new fence frames and get that done. And once that's done, it's just a matter of installing the hardware. You don't need to see that. It's just, let's get these on, get the other things out of the way, the old ones out of the way, so you can see the finished product. This will probably be a time lapse. So let's get going. I have to have my tunes. So you get the idea. Sloping down from this one, sloping down from this one, given that nice curve at the top. I may have to put a block off at the bottom of these because of the dogs, or I'll extend them down longer so the dogs can't get out. But you get the general idea how this is going on. So now I'll go ahead and finish these off, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the finished product. So I got all the pickets up. Now, this is temporarily put in with the nail gun. I'm going to go and put screws behind that. I'll bring the camera up closer and show you what I was talking about, the dogs getting out. I made everything longer on this side and a little shorter on this side, and I've got to do a couple of angle cuts to make that blend in a little bit so it doesn't look so jagged. But that'll keep the dogs from getting out. I may have to put a backer bar behind those to give them more strength. But other than that, this is pretty much done, and along with the hardware. So let me grab the camera and I'll show what I mean about the dogs. So it pretty much goes along relatively straight here. Then there's a large dip. I'm going to have to cut those to make it look a little better. Give it a little blend into this lower part because the ground slopes in that direction. And that's to keep the dogs from getting under the fence. We had dogs that could get under the previous one, and I had to put extensions. Extensions look like crap. So let me get this stuff in the back here out of the way and we can get a better look at what we got here. So here we go. I mean, the hardware's going to come in and bring these two together so they'll lock in place. And then I got to put the drop bar in, and I've got a socket for the drop bar that I could not find locally, but I found one online. I'll put a link in the description. It's DeerBusters, the company that supplied it. So that's the next steps. Well, right now I got to go back and screw all the screws in to make this permanent, and then I got to replace some of the hardware on the hinges because I don't like the hardware that comes with these hinges. So I'll get some nice hot dip galvanized hardware to go in to all of these so that it's robust over the years. But that will keep the dogs in, and it looks better than the piece of crap that just took off of there. And here it is. So I got the hardware is up. I've got a latching system here with a lock on it. This keeps honest people honest. The drop bar is right here. I haven't put the tube in the ground yet, but I will put the new hardware in the hinges, and I still got this crossbar here. This is actually a wind bar. We've had these things blow open in storms, so I put this in as more of a wind bar than anything else. But that's it. Again, got to trim down here, make it look pretty. I have a herniated disc right now that's acting up, so I really can't do that for a few days, so I'm not going to film that. But anyway, new gates, better than the old gates. So Until next time, make great things out of wood.